This is NTV.
Very good morning from the Nation Center in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. It is a few minutes, 10 to be specific, past 1 a.m. Our wall-to-wall coverage of Decision 2022 continues. I am Ben Kitili.
And of course, my name is Winnie Lubembe. It's actually, like, can you believe it? It's 1 a.m. It's in the morning. And of course, like Ben says, we promised you wall-to-wall coverage, comprehensive coverage as far as the election is concerned. So today is 10th. All right.
Yes. There's the business end of things, Winnie.
Right?
Kenyans are waiting with bated breath to see where the numbers by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission will be going. As we've been reporting, Dan Mwangi has been on the magic wall there showing the reporting by the polling stations across the country. We are around 83 or 84%. That means by tomorrow, mid-morning, we should be having all the 46,229 polling stations across this republic having reported all those forms 34A to the IEBC. Now, what's not clear when is how long the turnaround will be for IEBC to upload or to tabulate those into the real numbers. Yeah, I know, and of course on Twitter we've seen a lot of Kenyans saying, 84% like you're saying, so that means by tomorrow at around 10 a.m. we should know what is happening. But then again, of course, there's also still a process of the same. That is just the form 34As, but of course we're waiting for the 34Bs as well, which again, Mr. Chebukati of course will be relying on to make sure that then before we make all this official in terms of the numbers and just complete the whole process at the same time. Indeed, and we have deployed our journalists, the biggest deployment by any broadcaster, like we've been reminding you, across the country to just tell us what is happening where, blow-by-blow accounts of the votes as they continue to stream in. Later on, we shall be having a panel here in studio to just continue to make sense of what's happening in this country following the voting day, what has been happening, the trends, what we've seen, the small issue of the voter turnout that people are saying that it is low, others are saying that it is too early to say whether it's a low turnout.
And of course, it has been an interesting day, really. The day started well, those large, numbers in some parts, but of course others reported low turnout as well. But all the way to the afternoon, the numbers went low. One of our colleagues here was saying, I went there at around 3:45, and the clerks were actually waiting for me. I did not have to queue at any given point. So of course, we'll also want to understand how the turnout will impact, the results really at the end of the day.
I don't know if you voted. How was your experience?
Unfortunately, I did not.
Oh, so I actually did vote.
You did?
It took me like 3 minutes to do the whole thing.
That is.
I mean, the queue was not so long, but the process was very seamless in terms of the voter identification and the process. ABC guys on hand to show you where you're going. So you have to commend them for that.
Absolutely, and of course, some people were saying, that the maximum number that is 700 per polling station make it a lot easier for people to actually go vote and go home. Although we saw a number of people, waiting there.
So we are burning the midnight oil, and our reporters I think we can start by going and checking out what's happening in the North Rift. That is in the county of Uasin Gishu, where NTV's Lois Wongo is standing by, checking out what's happening across the 6 constituencies, sub-counties of that county. Lois, if you can hear us, good morning. You look quite tired. Sorry for...
She's been out and about. At some point she was like, it's just the field that is here.
She's almost completing a 24-hour cycle.
Yes. Lois, how are you doing?
What can you tell us from where you are?
Good morning, Ben and Winnie. It sounds very funny to say good morning because it feels like we just woke up to the polls and we're still keeping at it. And is it safe to say a day after Kenyans took to the general election, the year 2022, here in the county of Uasin Gishu, the stakes are higher, the concerns are perhaps doubled. Granted that among the candidates for the presidential ticket is a son of the North Rift and who is currently currently serving the country as the Deputy President, William Ruto, who is eyeing the presidency while making the stab for the very first time under the UDA ticket and in the larger Kenya Kwanza umbrella. So Ben and Winnie, I could tell you a lot of excitement even through this morning. The residents keenly following into the tallying process now that it is currently ongoing. So Ben, we have 6 constituencies here in Uasin Gishu County, namely Soi, Tarbo, Moiben, Ainapkoi, Keses and Kapseret constituencies. The voting process began quite early in all these constituencies and it was very seamless. We did not experience or have major incidences or cases that are really necessitated for address by the IEBC, and so that is very commendable. The process was very seamless across all the 6 constituencies. Now, I have noted that among the top seats that the residents of Uasin Gishu will be following closely is the presidential battle, and this is because this is largely a UDA stronghold. Granted, it is the home county of Deputy President William Ruto who is in that race eyeing the presidency. Now we move from the presidency seat and we come to the county CEO seat. This is the Uasin Gishu gubernatorial seat. This particular seat had a UDA nominee by the name Jonathan B. He's popularly known as here as Koti Moja, and Koti Moja took to the ballot to fight it off with independent candidate, politician and businessman Zedekiah Bundutich, also known as Buzeki. Now this was a close one, Ben and Winnie, and from the tallying processes that we have been able to follow through here in Moiben, in Ainapkoi, in Keses, Kapseret and Tarbo, all indications are that Jonathan B is seemingly leading that particular pack. It is his first time eyeing the gubernatorial seat, but it is the second time that Zedekiah Bundutich, also known as Buzeki, is also eyeing that title. So who will it be between Jonathan B, a UDA nominee, or Zedekiah Bundutich, who is an independent candidate? But having gone round quite a number of polling stations and different constituency tallying centers, we can tell you Jonathan B is seemingly almost taking the day on that one. From the gubernatorial seat, we now move to the senatorial seat here in the county of Uasin Gishu. The current senator for Uasin Gishu is Professor Margaret Kamar. She came into that elective office in the year 2017 under a Jubilee ticket. Interestingly, Professor Margaret Kamar has chosen not to defend that particular seat, so she is holding brief for the person that will be elected by the residents of Uasin Gishu as their next governor. So who are the top contenders for this particular seat? We have the sitting governor of Uasin Gishu, Jackson Mandago, eyeing that particular seat. Jackson Mandago had a rough time during the UDA party primaries for the senatorial seat, and his closest contender was lawyer Kipchumba Karori. And immediately after the UDA party gave Governor Mandago the go-ahead and the ticket to fly its ticket for the senatorial seat, we did see lawyer Kipchumba Karori say he will seek legal address, noting that there was a bit of mischief in that particular process. UDA presidential candidate William Ruto came to the rescue of that situation, and he calmed matters by inviting lawyer Kipchumba Karori into his legal desk team, and that is where he's currently serving, and that did give some sort of reprieve for sitting Governor Jackson Mandago to sit pretty and fly high the ticket of Uasin Gishu County senatorial seat. So that goes to say Jackson Mandago is on that ballot paper, and he has an independent candidate battling out for him, a communication specialist known as Robert Kemei, who was until recently attached to CAS Media International. Now, Ben and Winnie, we keep going round the tallying stations and even the constituency ones, and all indications are indicating that Jackson Mandago is most likely to become the third senator here in Uasin Gishu County, and it will be interesting to see how he will transition from the county CEO to the county senator. Now note, the independent candidate has suffered at the ballot, if anything that we have observed and noted in terms of numbers is anything to go by. From the senatorial seat, we move to the parliamentary seats, and then we noted we have 6 constituencies, and those are 6 lots. We start here in the constituency of Moiben, and we have been following through the tallying results coming at this particular county constituency tallying center, and we can now authoritatively report that the incumbent, who is Sila Tiren, who came in on a Jubilee ticket from the year 2013-2017, he did not opt to go for the UDA party primaries because he is from a different school of thought politically with the UDA, with the UDA affiliated politicians in the region. So what happened? Sila Tiren took the ballot to try and defend his seat as an independent candidate. On the other hand, UDA handed the UDA ticket to Lady Professor Phyllis Barto, who is a lecturer at Egerton University. And now Kitili and Winnie, having been here at the constituency main tallying center, we can almost authoritatively report that Professor Phyllis Barto is seemingly taking the lead, and if the numbers keep at what we are observing, this might be the end of the road for the parliamentary seat of Member of Parliament Sila Tiren. From this independent constituency, move to yet another constituency that did attract an independent candidate, and that is the constituency of Ainapkoi. The current sitting Member of Parliament is William Chepkut. He came into office in the year 2017 as an independent under the Jubilee Party, and this time around he did not defend his seat on a UDA ticket. He is yet another what do you call them? Do you call them independent-minded or political rebels of the North Rift? And so he sought to defend his seat as an independent candidate. UDA gave their UDA ticket to Samuel Chepkonga. And this is very interesting because Samuel Chepkonga was the sitting MP between the years 2013 and the years 2017 before Samuel Chepkut elbowed him out of office. Now they face off yet again, but in different positions. Samuel Chepkonga are flying the UDA ticket, and so far, Ben, from the numbers that we have observed and even reconciled with our colleague reporters, even from the Daily Nation, indicate that Samuel Chepkonga is seemingly carrying the day, and they're evidently another independent candidate, William Chepkut, seemingly headed for the axe. From Ainapkoi, we cross to the neighboring Kesas constituency, where we also did have an incumbent Member of Parliament, Dr. Swarup Mishra, attempt to defend his seat on an independent candidate. Remember, Dr. Swarup Mishra also came in through the Jubilee wave of the year 2017, but somewhere along the way, he was also of a different school of thought, and some preferred to call these independent candidates as the North Rift rebels because they seem to deviate from the larger umbrella that is affiliated to the UDA party. So Dr. Swarup Mishra was defending his seat, and as he did that, UDA did have a contender who is Julius Rotich. Julius Rotich is a sitting member of the cabinet here at Governor Mandago's tenure, and all indications show that he's seemingly taking it. So that is yet the third independent Member of Parliament seemingly also headed for the axe. From there, we switch gears to Kapsaret constituency. You understand that the incumbent or the sitting MP is Oscar Sudi. He is seeking to defend his seat on a UDA ticket, and all indications show he's doing well, though he did experience fierce competition from independent candidate, Frank Morgor. In the neighboring constituency, my goodness, yes, of Tarbo, and indeed our last constituency, we did have Madam Janet CTNA. Remember, she's the sitting Member of Parliament. This is the home MP of Deputy President William Ruto. She came in as an independent candidate in the year 2017. Now, in this particular election, she was lucky enough to bag herself the UDA ticket, and so she defended her seat on that ticket, and she has shown a huge margin. She's leading by a huge margin, and her main contender, or her main opponent, was ODM's Samuel Mugo, who has not shown very impressive numbers, and seemingly Janet CTNA carries the day. So that is the picture of the constituencies here in Uasin Gishu County, the picture of the senatorial seat. Oh, there is the women representative seat, yes, and Gladys Boschole, the incumbent, is also doing quite well. And I must note, Gladys Boschole has very impressive numbers. Like in all the areas that we have visited, in all these 6 constituencies, her score is around 80% and above. She did quite well, and seemingly she has rightfully defended her seat as the woman representative for the county of Uasin Gishu. So that is the perspective, much Ben, that we have on the ground. But even as we wind up on the constituencies, and even as we narrow down to the possible senator and the possible governor, now all eyes in the county of Uasin Gishu look up to the presidential seat and the members of the county of Uasin Gishu. Like when we were driving to different tallying centers, you could see them in places of worship, in places of entertainment, joints, just having conversations amongst themselves, most of them on their phones, others on their screens, following and telling the numbers to see if a son of their own, Dr. William Ruto, is doing well, and hopefully they hope he will carry the day. Now, William Samuel Ruto was born here in the county of Uasin Gishu about 55 years ago at Kamagut village, Tarbo constituency. It is there that he started his early life as a child and started his school life. He went on to study at Wareng Secondary School and later Kapsabet School, and later he joined at the University of Nairobi. Now, in the year 1992, when William Ruto would sell his name to the country, it is when he first appeared for the Youth for Kenya YK92, a team that had been put in place to seek the youth vote in the 10th re-election of former late President Daniel Arap Moi. Now, approximately 30 years later, now William Samoei Ruto has grown over the ranks, and he is number 2 in the country as we stand. And during this particular election, he is attempting to make another step and become the country's number 1. It will be interesting to see how he performs, and the numbers continue to stream in. Ben, as I wind up, I would like to note that Uasin Gishu County really had a smooth and seamless voting process, and these can be seen in how the Form 34As from the different polling stations here in Uasin Gishu County have performed. If you go to the IEBC portal, you will see Uasin Gishu is leading in submission of its Form 34As. And remember, the Form 34A is the primary or the basic document through which the presidential election will be based on. And so the mere fact that Uasin Gishu has done around 880 Form 34As against 961 is sufficient evidence to show the voting process here was quite seamless and smooth, and any moment from now we will be able to tally from the different polling stations, and really the agents, the candidates and their supporters can almost start tallying here at home before the IEBC makes it official. For now, I want to take it back to you, Ben and Winnie, unless you have a question or a comment for me from the county of Uasin Gishu.
Thank you very much. Lois Ongui, of course, holding fort for us in Uasin Gishu since morning, and of course, doing very well at that. I just want to understand again, as far as the counting, how is it so far?
Winnie, let me take that again. I didn't hear you quite clearly.
Of counting, because we've seen even on social media people actually asking in this day and age, why do we have to hold the paper up and count them one by one? But how is the process so far?
You see, we have visited very many polling stations, Winnie, and the tallying stations. And part of the reason why the teams here insist on picking a vote after a vote, and once they pick it, they sort of spread it to the witnesses therein who comprise the party agents, IEBC officials, and election observers, for them to see and for it to be very clear. So yes, it is somewhat tedious, but Winnie, what I have observed from it, it is a very open way of doing things, and here there's verification. It is verification at every level, so that when we open this particular ballot paper, then you, Winnie, as the election observer, you're able to see it. Ben Kitili, as a party agent, he's able to see it. My cameraman here, as a party agent, Ken, he's able to see it. And I think it is efforts by the IEBC to put in transparency. And Winnie, you understand, where Kenyans can be very peculiar at times and have these small habits of saying, mimi sikuona vizuri, weka nione, sikuiona, waliangalia wawili. So I think this is the way of IEBC, just making it clear, open a ballot paper, spread it out, everyone to see, and key in the numbers as have been voted by the residents.
Yes. With a very comprehensive view of the county of Uasin Gishu. Again, the home turf of the Deputy President William Ruto is becoming, like you said, the first person after the introduction of multi-party politics to be president at the first time of asking. Thank you, Lois. And of course, another